Alright, what is up YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys today because we're going to be talking a bit more about the recent announcement of the TCG's Forbidden Limited list. So if you guys have been living under a rock, don't worry, I'll be posting another link to the list itself in the description box below of this video. Now, as far as this video goes, I selected a couple of cards from the list itself to want to talk about. Sadly, because of how YGO Pro Mobile has been organized, I can't get to a lot of my banned cards and put them here freely under a free mode. So, yeah, I am gonna have to exclude banned cards that were banned and are being brung back, just due to the fact that I can easily do them in their own video, or maybe later on talk about them when this updates. But for the most part, I'm going to talk about my opinions about a lot of the cards that were hit on the TCG's Forbidden Limited list. So, the first thing that I do want to also address is that we're going to have some noise here in the background. Because when YGO Pro ES updated, it updated with music tracks in its background. So I don't know if it's going to get copyright strike or not. So I do apologize ahead of time. And I'm going to try to make sure that I talk more over the music, and that way you guys can hear me. But also it might be a little akin to just, having some nice calming music in the background while I do a lot of discussion videos, because it might just feel a little more refreshing, a little more calming to most people. Kind of helps me in a point. Alright, so we're going to take a look at a lot of particular cards from the recent list. And just my overall opinion of the list has changed within the time frame, because I got to sit down and actually think about it. I got a chance to sit down and talk to other players about how they feel about the list itself. Which is why I still opened up the comment section for you guys. So we're going to be talking about a lot of particular cards here. So I think one of the bigger ones we have to talk about is the Sky Striker situation. Do we think Sky Striker will survive without Engage? I'm going to hit maybe on this. And the reason why I'm saying maybe is because I feel like if we're going to ban Engage, why are multi-role... I can see why multi-role, Widow Anchor, and Hornet Drone are still at 1. And that is simply just due to splashable effect. Now, in case in point of how could it be splashable when you can't search for it? Well, you can still search for it, but you have to wait to the end phase of the effects of Sky Striker Suzuku, who can search for a lot of those cards. You also have to account to the fact that Kagari is still a thing. And because they went to triple Kagari, Widow Anchor, Hornet Drone, and stuff like that did still have to be hit, because there are still ways to play a lot of those cards. You have cards like Foolish Burial of Goods. You still have mill cards that can send cards to the graveyard. You just have a lot of synergy with a lot of cards you didn't think Sky Strikers would have, and they still have it. Now, I do honestly want to say that I was shocked for it to get banned. I thought it was going to get limited, at least to 1. And in that way, Kagari could have went to 2. But they just felt, alright, we'll outright ban Engage and then bring back Kagari. And the crazy thing about Kagari herself is that she is still a playmaker. She just is going to take... It's going to take Sky Strikers a lot more reserve cards to be used for them in order for them to really take advantage of, not having certain things here. Because there is still draw power, there is still mill within this deck, and in this archetype. It's just, sadly enough, because of where it is right now, we're going to have to wait for a lot of things to happen. Not to mention, the new support cards are coming out literally next weekend during the sneak peek. And I don't know how reliable it is for Sky Striker now that there's no Engage. So you don't have anything to really search for anything, except for Reinforcing the Army, that's to search for Ray. You do have Suzuku, who can in-phase search. You have Hayate, and you have, I guess you can use Hayate, and she can go get Kagari, and then Kagari could go get a lot of the cards in the graveyard. But you still have to fill up your graveyard with a lot of spells. So it's going to be very weird builds of Sky Strikers for right now. I kind of am interested to see what they'll look like, and if people are going to still be willing to play Sky Striker even with these massive hits. So, alright, I guess I pretty much did take a good portion of Sky Striker out of the way. But I do also want to address another support card for Sky Striker that did get hit indirectly, and that's Card of Demise. So, outside of my feelings for this card in Sky Strikers itself was a great support card. And the crazy thing about how supportive this card was literally on the fact that during the end phase, it discarded cards from your hand to the graveyard. With Sky Striker, they didn't care about a hand because they had so many floats that it didn't matter. That's why a lot of the Demise Sky Striker builds didn't run any hand traps, because you were going to lose your hand traps. So you could run cards like Lost Wind, there can only be one. You can flip Call by the Grave. You can flip Cosmic Cyclones and stuff like that. You did have a lot of its own recovery within the archetype. So with a card like Card of Demise, you could stand there and be okay with it in the deck. Then you also take into account that it's a spell card. And because of how Sky Strikers work, they love having random spells in their deck and taking advantage of any abilities that they have. So with this one, in case in point, it was, okay, we'll set our hand and play Card of Demise. Then we'll flip all these other cards that are just regular normal spells and then take advantage of them. Which ended up being the reason why Card of Demise got its limited status. Not just because of Sky Striker, but also because of the floating anti-meta that still exists in the game. I'm looking at you, True King, True Draco, who, in the same sense that we're going to talk about Card of Demise, we do have to talk about True Kings, because this was an archetype that built its anti-meta while it was meta. And I know that sounds a little weird to say, but when you look at it when you look at the overall theme of what True King, True Draco was, it was the ability to normal summon these big beat sticks similar to a monarch, but you sacrifice your special summon. And at a point, if you were a monarch player, you were okay with not having your extra deck accessible to you. You didn't care about special summon that wasn't from your extra deck. You only cared about it from your main deck. But the advantages that True King, True Draco gave itself came from a lot of its wacky hijinks, where it could play cards like Card of Demise and not care. Or it could take advantage of a lot of its continuous spells and traps that some of them during your opponent's turn had a lot of their own effects, whether they were destroyed by card effects or they were activated in response to card effects to, have that chainable access to themselves. And this honestly is another one of those big field spells that were broken just because of how much of an impact it had with a lot of the cards that it corresponds with. And I wasn't shocked that this card was hit. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was hit before. And then they only bring it back because there was, someone got hit in the process of it as well. I think it was, no, it was Masterpiece. And it was Dynamite in them. So a lot of those were 1-1 or banned. And then now here comes, because they got land back. And then this had to be hit because I know land can abuse the field spell. Well, any of the True Kings can abuse a lot of their own corresponding spells and traps. So it was kind of a give and take when you look at that. But it was just something that I wanted to, address there. And then, of course, Mind Control getting hit. Mind Control is a float. Mind Control has so many advantages. Whether it was, meta, non-meta, competitive, wherever it stands, Mind Control had advantages. You can take a monster, exceed with it, link summon with it, fusion summon with it, ritual summon it. Ritual it away. You have ways to get rid of that monster. You can take your opponent's biggest monsters, their boss monsters. They literally can't be, destroyed by card effects and stuff. Take those monsters and then take advantage of them. Yes, you can attack with them, but remember, they have effects, and you can take advantage of them there. Now, seeing this card go from 3 to 2, It's also a little bit of Sky Striker's fault there, because Sky Strikers love mind control, because you can send stuff off of Area Zero, you can send stuff off of multi-roll, and because it wasn't your monster, it's not going to hurt you. So you have your edge there. But yeah, and that was a lot of the crazy in that sense. I want to talk about Horror, and I feel this was a card that got banned because other cards attached to it aren't banned. Like Galatea is still untouched. Demogram is still untouched. No, Demogracius is still untouched. I keep getting that monster's name, but I think it's Diagastras. I'm gonna call it Dia, but Dia in Galatea did not get hit, and this did. And it got to hit to the factor of it got banned. They didn't get limited, it got banned. And I'm like, well, the Link monster and the Exceed should have been also hit as well, especially considering what they do. And even Babel didn't get touched, and I was confused about that. But I'm like, alright, well, maybe next time. Because I think, honestly, Orcos is still going to survive. Even with the loss of Horror. I think it's still going to have a way to really rely on a lot of its other support to get a lot of things going. So then I'm going to also look at the arts. I'm also going to look at Salamangreat. They lost Mirage Stallion, but ended up getting back Lady Debug. Now, as we all know, Mirage Stallion was a one-trick pony, no pun intended. And the factor of it is that Mirage Stallion was Mirage Stallion's own demise. It is a great card, and because of what it had its range of doing, Mirage Stallion became its own demise. And it when you look at such productivity within a card, yeah, it at that point it's just like you gotta go. And it sucks because Salamangreat is a great archetype. Remember, it was tier, and it did get hit itself because it lost some of its monsters. But I look and I question things, and then I don't question things no more, because it's at a point where certain cards for certain things have to be hit when more support keeps coming. And when more support keeps coming, you just have to say, okay, it's time to ban those cards that keep giving it resources. And because this is a resource card, even at 1. Like, I remember I just read a couple of tweets about this card, and people are like, no, it did deserve to get hit because it's still a good portion of that Dex engine. And I look at the Dex engine and I'm like, they're not wrong. But it was just like, yeah. Because I eventually do want to go back to Salamangreat. And I do want to float around with a lot of the cards because Signet Mining is getting reprinted. I do feel that this is an archetype that will survive its courses. Like, it kind of reminds me of Blackwing. Because remember, a lot of Blackwing stuff got hit here and there. And I think a lot of and a lot of the indirect support did get hit as well. So, I mean, at a point, we'll see what happens in the end. But for the most part, looking at it now, the trade-off is triple Lady Debug and then drop Mirage Stallion. So, we move on from Salamangreat, and we do... I think at a point, we're going to have to eventually talk about it. We're going to look at Heavy Metal Foes, Electromite. This wasn't a monster that was hit because of its archetype. It was hit because of a game mechanic. And the game mechanic happened to be Pendulum. And Pendulum overall was a deciding factor of Master Rule 4 and the changes it gave to Master Rule 4. Now, I'm not saying that Electromite is a bad card. No. I'm saying Electromite was a good card and it had to get hit. And Pendulum overall just takes so much advantage from so many different aspects of itself that it's not even funny how many aspects of this card could just be used so indefinitely. Yeah, so I'm going to end it at that because I don't want to blank out. Now, as far as it goes with Endymion, because we do know Servant of Endymion was hit. In combination with Electromite and what Pendulum does for itself, yeah, it had to go. It had to go. And like Pendulum overall, no matter what aspects of itself it is, it's so good, and that was its problem. It survived when it shouldn't have survived. And like I said, the players make this game, and it's how they execute cards. And this was an executed scenario that it had to be stopped. And I'm at a point where I say, yeah, it was rightly so. We gotta move on. We gotta move on to Dragon Colossus. Colossus, I don't know why this one probably got hit in a corresponding to what Thunder Dragons can do on their own. You know, a lot of banish, a lot of returning from the banish. We've seen the loss of Fairy Tale Snow. We've seen the limit of Golden Sarcophagus. It's just a lot of things got hit in corresponding to this. And I'm not surprised. I'm surprised it was Colossus, because I felt like Titan in them would have been the better choices. But I guess I look at it and I'm just like, they hit the wrong mon. I think they could, like, honestly, they hit the wrong mon, but I feel like just like Salamangreat, Thunder Dragon will be okay. And I think Thunder Dragon still has enough of its own monsters. It still has Titan, so it's not dead. It's just it lost a big monster. And I guess in its sense, like it kind of hit the factor of it's the Mirage Stalio, but not really, because I don't, because I don't have nothing bad to say about Colossus. I have a lot of other stuff to say, because Titan in them survived, and I'm still questioning why that happened. But yeah, it's just sad to see Colossus take the hit, and I feel the rest of them deserve to get hit more. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the monster next to him, and that's Ib. Bye, Ib. Bye, Ib. We won't miss you, Ib. And you know, Ib on her own was her own problem. Ib is a tuner. Ib can get back World Chalice monsters. Ib can, search for World Chalice cards. Ib has a lot of float because of how generic Ib is. And actually, just the World Chalice engine itself is floatable. And I think at that point, Ib had to see the ban list. I'm going to pick up an Ib too, because she's going to drop like, a lot of these ban cards are going to drop like crazy. So, I can pick me up an Ib and, fill out the ban binder. So, now we can move on to some of the other, I'm going to go to the one-ofs. The one-ofs were real crazy here. Excluding Pot of Avarice, I've already talked about Demise. Let's talk about Sekka's Light. So, Sekka's Light pretty much says you have any spell cards in your graveyard, you draw 2 cards, and then for the rest of the duel, after activating it, you can't activate any spells and traps or effects. So it's just like, well, monsters. Like, this was pretty much the card for decks that was nothing but monsters. And Sekka's Light, I don't know what intention of hitting it was going to do, because once you played the one Sekka's Light, that was it. Like, you can't do nothing else except activate Sekka's Lights. And Sekka itself had an effect that can only be used once per turn. So, like, was that its reason? Because Sekka's Light could go get Sekka's Light? No, Sekka's Light can go get cards. But then it's just like, but Sekka's Light limited it. So, I don't, like, that hit confused me. You know what also confused me? Was Red Reboot getting limited. And then I looked at, Solemn Warnings Unlimited. And I'm like, so we traded 2 reboots for 2 Solemns. Okay. But here's the problem. You just gave control fodder. So, good luck with that. Very much so, good luck with that. I hurt for the limit of Red Reboot. What I don't hurt for the hit of was, well, Brilliant Fusion. Brilliant Fusion getting banned is a good thing because many decks can take advantage of Fusion with Brilliant Fusion. You have the Predaplant engine, you have Shadal's with the Light engine, you have access to Seraphonite, you have Seraphonite's ability that can work in tons of decks as well. Brilliant Fusion just had to go. And because of what Brilliant Fusion can just do on its own pace, yeah, Brilliant Fusion had to go. And I'm not sad to see Brilliant Fusion go. I don't really care if Brilliant Fusion was here. I just know for a fact Brilliant Fusion was an issue and Brilliant Fusion had to be dealt with, and I'm glad they did deal with Brilliant Fusion. Then looking at like other aspects of Fusion itself, no, they didn't make the right choice. They hit Brilliant Fusion. Just as a sense. So we're gonna move over and we're gonna talk about Book of Moon. Book of Moon's back. Book of Moon's back at 3. This means Libra de la Luna. Those prints of it in Italian and in Spanish are gonna go up like crazy because I know a lot of people for decades have been waiting for Book of Moon to come back. Book of Moon was the defensive offensive card. It kind of like compulsory evacuation device. There was nothing wrong about it. However, it was very splashable. There are a lot of decks that can take advantage of it. And I think this card on its own, in combination with decks like Shadal, decks like, what is it? Subterra, the Subterra archetype. Oh, they're going to love Book of Moon. There's going to be so much Book of Moon played in those decks because of how versatile Book of Moon is. Book of Moon can interrupt summons. Book of Moon can interrupt card effects. Book of Moon is just going to be Book of Moon. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy having Book of Moon. Now, as far as the metagame itself has with Libra de la Luna, I don't know how far advanced it can be taken right now. But it's nice to see triple Book of Moon. We can actually go over to some monsters. Let's talk about Deep Sea Diva at 2. So Diva gets her own archetype, the Deep Sea archetype. And it's going to be very amazing to see Diva be the focus of a deck. And Diva's a great tuner. Diva has a lot of synergy. We've seen Diva wreck shit, which is why she was at 1 for a good period of time. And, it's nice to just see Deep Sea Diva, come back to the game. And I honestly think Diva going to 2, both TCG and OCG, was the right move, because then we can promote more of Diva support cards. Because Diva, the Deep Sea and the Mermail combos with Master Rule for Revise is going to be a game changer. It really is. Tour Guide from the Underworld. This was kind of just to make, I think honestly Tour Guide coming back is a way to make up for Sekka's Light. And that's in the impact of Burning Abyss, Phantom Knight. PK Fire. And PK Fire, BK PK, just BAPK. I mean, they needed this boost. Just a lot of boosts can come from Tour Guide from the Underworld. And we'll probably see a lot of BA now that Tour Guide's at 2. One of my favorite jugglers, one of my favorite magicians, Damage Juggler's back at 3. I'm so happy for Damage Juggler. I was a big fan of Damage Juggler. I'm a big fan of Trick Clown and all the crazy shenanigans of Clown Blade. And I'm just really excited to see this monster come back to 3. I'm glad Plush Fire is still banned because we all know what happens with, Plush Fire, Mirror Conductor and all of that. But the engine itself didn't really break till they broke, Damage Juggler and Trick Clown. And it had to ban Plush Fire. And just to have Damage Juggler back means we can have, a lot of the good rank 4 spam, troll decks come back. And I love, this is one of my favorites of those monsters. Like, I love the, Trick Clown, Hat Tricker, and Damage Juggler. Those are my favorite engine at that time. And to have it back, I'm really excited about. And I can splash this into my Shadal deck and just wreck shit. Alright, I think I pretty much talked about everything here. Yeah, I talked about everything here. Oh, Soul Drain by Hand Trap. That's certainly what it is. It's just screw your Hand Trap. And like it's back at 3. I thought this was actually skill drain when I seen it. I was like, that's skill drain? They put skill drain back to 3? They're like, isn't Clea a thing? And they're like, no, that's soul drain. I was like, oh, okay. I think it's supposed to be an answer to dealing with hand traps. You know, dealing with Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogres, and stuff like that. However, Red Reboot was an answer to this card, and then Red Reboot itself got limited. So, I think that's ultimately why both of those counter traps had to come back the way they did. If I could just take a look back at the overall list itself, I would give it a B minus. Because I feel, like I said, there are a lot of cards that were missed on that list. Maybe the next go around in March, at the end of March, early April, we'll see that changes. I also expect a lot more cards to get hit at that period of time, just due to what Master Rule for OCG and TCG could potentially have in an impact. I would actually be shocked if we merged once again. Like if the TCG and the OCG end up having the same ban list. It's just crazy how possible that could be. Literally 6 years later, no, 7 years later, after the massive split between the TCG and OCG's Forbidden Limited list. So, there's my explanations, you guys, for everything here on the TCG's ban list. And the cards that I wanted to take a look at. I just want to say thank you guys so much for your support and everything. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Probably a little longer than normal. Let me know what you guys think about the list itself in the comment section. And I'll catch you guys next time. HPJ, signing out. Take care.